Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to our Lunch and Learn on our last day of the Paper Crafters Get Organized Summit. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we've got a special treat with Karen Burniston here. I don't know if you guys have seen her pop-up dies, but they are amazing, and I know she's going to show us something really incredible. So welcome, Karen. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here.
Yeah. Well, we've got lots of people in the chat, and I know everyone's excited to just get started and see what you're going to show us. So I'll leave the stage and I'll come back at the end.
Okay, sounds great.
Thanks.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. So I'm Karen Burniston, and I am half of the duo at KB Riley. So we are a die company that focuses on my die designs, and I've been designing dies for a long time, but my specialty is pop-ups. So I know this is an organizational summit, and I will say that I myself am not like super organized. I wish I was better, but recently we have been on a mission to get all of just my dies organized for myself. So, I basically mostly just use the dies that I design. And so, I think we have like 260 of them or something like that. So I just wanted to show real quick that we have gone through this organizational system now where we've got all the die sets and including little, I'm on the wrong thing. Hang on, let me change you. So now I've got, everything organized, all the dies, and each one of my little things are numbered now. So I feel so organized with this. It's like the only thing that's organized in my thing. But anyway. Okay, so what I thought I would demonstrate with my time today, because we are pop-up people, and so I'm going to do a pop-up card. So I'm going to use one of our newest pop-up dies. It's called our Lorna label pop-up, and it makes a really generic little pop-up label that kind of sits on a box. And so I did kind of a version of this card in the assembly video for this die set. And so I kind of simplified it a little bit for it to be a good demo card. And I thought I'd make this card today. But before I get into that, let me just talk about the brand for a second. So I mentioned I'm half the duo. So I am Karen Burniston, and my business partner is Tanya Kostanek. And you may have seen her demonstration yesterday from Riley and Company. So she owns Riley and Company as well. And then we have this business together that just focuses basically on the die designs that I create. And the way that our dies are packaged is they come in full color packaging like this. And there's always like a full color sample on the front. And it'll tell you like how many pieces are in the die set, and it'll show you a little picture of what's in there. And then on the back, you've got full instructions if it's a pop-up die. But of course, watching the YouTube videos is probably the easier way to learn things. But so we put a lot of information into our packaging. So you notice on my die sets, I didn't have packaging in it. But a way that some people organize their dies, oh, I've lost what I was going to show you, is, let's see, I found it. Okay. So if you wanted to keep your packaging, then one way that you could do it is you could get a sleeve that's big enough to hold both. And then if you did want to move your dies to a magnet sheet, then you could keep that in there. But what's nice about our packaging too is that we do put a full color, or well, a full index on the back of each packaging. So when you peel those dies off, you've got a little visual of where what dies are in that set. So you've got a little snowflake die sitting on your table and you're not sure where it came from. It's just a really good idea to keep that packaging. Okay. Is there a question? I see someone raising their hand across the thing there.
Well, because you were talking about it, Marley says they have a hard time peeling off the KB dies and it rips the sheet. Do you recommend like photocopying it, or?
You can do that. The question was, do you recommend? It's hard. This tape is, I'm going to tell you, this tape is like industrial tape that holds these dies on. So the easiest way I've found to peel them off so that you don't damage the packaging is actually to use your heat gun, but be careful with it. But just take your heat gun under, obviously out of the packaging, out of the plastic. Take your heat gun underneath and just, heat it up a little bit. Don't heat it up so much that those metal gets hot and it burns you. You don't want to burn yourself, but just a little bit of heat. Or you can even huff on it with your breath, kind of huff on it to loosen the adhesive a little bit, and then just go real slowly. And then if you do happen to rip one, just put it back in place. Like what I do is I just put clear packaging tape over the index, so I don't have to try to remove that sticky tape. So you can see the sticky tape that was there is still there, but then I just have clear packaging tape over the top. But yeah, you could, if you wanted to, you could photocopy it, but you still got to get the dies off of there first to get your copy. So a little bit of heat will help. You know what? I feel a little flustered this morning. It's only because I had some technical difficulties right at the start. All me. It not registering my camera, and then I had to close things and come back in. And then like minutes before we were supposed to go live, I accidentally closed my browser window. So I'm like, So let me back up for a second. Our website is KarenBurniston.com. And we do have a special going on for the Get Organized Summit, and that is 20% off the entire website. So if you go on to KarenBurniston.com and you use the code POPUP20. So I wrote myself a little Post-it note. POPUP20, just all together. Tonight through midnight, you'll get 20% off your purchase of anything on the on the website. Okay. If you get up to $85, we have free domestic shipping, and the shipping is pretty affordable for things under that. Okay, so that out of the way, let's talk about this card. So the Lorna Label pop-up die set, like I said, it creates a cute little pop-up label. And in addition to the pop-up itself, it comes with some decorator pieces included. So you've got two label dies that come included in a nice oval, a little fishtail banner to fit this bottom section of the pop-up. And then you have a die set that'll cut a set of 4 hearts, 2 different sizes. Okay, so when you want to do an open window frame type of pop-up, then at the time that you die cut, you're going to nest in the next smallest die. So you've got the die that cuts the pop-up right here. Okay, then you're going to take the next size down, which is the stitched label, and you're going to nest it inside, keep it together with some temporary tape, and cut them both together. And then since I wanted to suspend fishing line across mine to have my 3D butterfly, then I went ahead before I took those dies apart again and cut it a second time so that I would have a second frame that matches that perfectly. And that way I can suspend my fishing line across this opening, and then I've got a nice cleanup frame to go over the top. Okay, so I did those at the same time. Then I went ahead and just kept the 2 beautiful pink labels that came out of the middle because I'll use those on my card as well. All right, so let's start with the pop-up. So what's nice about our die sets is all of the cutting and the scoring is done by the die. With the Lorna label, you'll be able to see the score lines, but there's a little tapered tab here at the top, and there's a score line right at the base of it. I always find it a little easier to break the fold by folding towards myself, but then I immediately reverse it because most everything in the Lorna is a mountain fold, which means you're looking at the top of the mountain. You're going away from yourself. So there's our first fold. Then we've got one just right here at the top. Okay, so you can see now we've got our back support. All right, then down at this end where that pop-up box is, we've got 2 little small tabs on either side of the label. So I'm going to break the fold by going towards myself, and then I'm going to go to the back. Okay, then we've got a long fold through the middle. And again, I'm going to break that fold first and then reverse it into a mountain fold. Okay. You do not have to use heavyweight cardstock with this die set. You can use anything. This happens to be heavyweight because it was the perfect pink. So if you find when you're using your heavyweights that it's hard to get your crisp folds, you could just grab a bone folder, and get crisper folds if you wanted to. So, but it does not require a heavyweight cardstock, not this design. All right, so now I've worked all the folds in the pop-up piece. I'm going to return everything back out to flat again. And it's this line right here, this long fold right here, that gets lined up in the fold of a card. What size card? It's up to you. Okay, it will fit in like an A2 size card. It would fit in that. This one happens to be a 5x5. And the one that I'm making with the butterflies today, this one happens to be a 5x6. So you're in charge of your card size. But the way I designed this one is I didn't put any pattern paper behind the pop-up. So in this case, I could actually just put my pop-up right in the card and carry on with decorating from there. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so let me get my card out. Lorna label. It was designed as a top fold card, but it could certainly be used in a side fold card. And I'll show you some examples of that afterwards. All right, so here's the one where I've worked the folds. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that long fold right there. I like to temporarily reverse it so it's a valley fold, and then I can just slide it around inside my card and get a location that I like because I want that directly over the center fold of the card. Okay, So that looks about centered to me. All right, so now I'm going to get down on my counter here, and I'm going to add a strong glue to those 2 little tabs. Okay, and I'm going to kick those under. Oops, got to make sure it doesn't move. And attach those to the card. So glue on top, kick them under, attach them to the card. Okay, once I got that, now my pop-up's not going to move. So that's great. So now I've basically set the location of it. Okay, now you might be asking, well, what kind of glue do you like? I like Lineco Neutral pH adhesive. We sell a little bottle like this on our website. It's just dry as clear PVA glue. It's wonderful. And then what I use to dispense it is we sell an item called a fine tip bottle. It's got an 18 gauge tip, gives you a real nice, line of glue, and comes with a lid that has a needle attached. So that will help you plunge it out if it ever gets, stuck. But the best way to keep your glue flowing while you're crafting is actually just to put it in a jar with a damp paper towel and just keep that needle down in that damp paper towel. It'll keep your glue flowing throughout the day. I craft pretty much every day, so I don't usually recap my glue. I just come in the morning and I just squirt some water into my paper towel. Okay, back to my pop-up. Is there any questions?
There was ones about organization. Do you want those?
In a bit. Let's get our pop-up done here, and then we'll talk some more. All right, so now I've got some glue on my upper tapered tab. Keep everything flat. I'm going to kick that under and attach it to the card. Okay, so now we've got that attached, and then I'm going to do this long tapered tab, and again, I'm going to kick it under. Now, sometimes I find it easier just to flip my card around while I do that. So I'm going to do this and kick that under and attach it to the card. Okay, so this is now attached in the card and ready to be decorated. What's nice about the Lorna label pop-up is that it does install flat, which means it can be returned to flat for decorating. So it's not one of the pop-ups that you have to decorate the whole thing first and then put it in, because you have access to a flat position even after it's installed inside the card. But the way it's going to pop up is if you've reversed this fold into a valley, we need to make it a mountain again. So fingers on the side to get that mountain coming forward. And then check this little tip right here of the label that it didn't get it, stuck down behind there or something like that. You want that coming forward as well. When you look at it from the side and you're seeing mountains coming forward, like, oh, I never worked this fold. I apologize. My little valley fold right at the bottom. Make sure that that is worked too so that it can come forward. All right, now, come on. Live demo. Live demo. All right, well, I'm sorry, you got a little crunched, but there he is. There it goes. I'm sorry, I wasn't coming forward enough. Okay, there we go. All right, here's my little pop-up Lorna label. It's a little weak because I made this a frame, okay? That's why I really should have worked this fold down here right at the beginning, and I forgot or whatever, but it's all fixable. It will all find its flat position. I just had to teach it and train it. And if, like, I've got just a little crunch zone right here, well, I'm lucky because I'm planning to put another frame right over the top of it. Okay, so then that will fix all that. Okay, and what's nice is that it can still flatten. It can still flatten for decorating. All right, so let's talk about decorating this one. I'm just using some fishing line that I found in the garage. Not that we've been fishing in any amount of time. Not that I can find the end of the fishing line. Okay, come here, fishing line. There it is. Okay, so fishing line. So I think the easiest way to attach the fishing line is by using a small miniature glue dot. So I'm going to grab that glue dot and I'm going to throw one up at the top here and then at the bottom here. And just want to keep out of my fold. So I'm just kind of stretching the glue dot so that it's above the fold. Okay, and I won't get into it. All right, and then I'm going to stick the end of my fishing line down. I'm going to stretch it tight across. Oops. Okay. Okay, so now I've got my fishing line on there. Yeah, I tell you, today. This is actually good practice for me too, because I'm teaching kind of a version of this card next week at a live event. And so whatever I mess up, I can make sure that I teach that better. You know, let me just throw another glue dot over the top so it'll hold that. Oh, what was the organizational question, Ash?
I'll ask if the principles on the back are available. Like, can they print them out because they put them away?
No, you really do need to do that off of your original packaging. We don't offer that, on its own. So, okay, so here's what I did. I took my scissors and I trimmed out just the frame of my second one there. And then now I'm going to go ahead and attach that over the top, and that ought to really help that fishing line stay in place as well. Okay. And remember, I cut those at the same time. Like, I kept the die in place and went ahead and did 2 frames at the same time. Well, not at the same time. You know, I took one off and then, but I left the dies connected to each other so that they would cut the exact same location of that inner label. Oh, what a day, what a day, what a day. Okay. This is not lined up. Hang on. Okay. Okay. Yeah, all right. It is possible to line it up perfectly because I did it on my original. Okay, so now I've got my fishing line sandwiched in there between the 2 labels. I'm gonna go ahead and take off the excess. All right, so then for butterflies, let's talk about butterflies. So I wanted to make this a card that was just swimming with butterflies. And so the die set that I used for that is a die that we have called, let me see if I can find a way to glue that. Butterfly collage add-ons. Thank you. It's right in front of me. It's right in front of me. All right, these are our butterfly collage add-ons. So we have a die set that creates like a collage of hearts. And then this was one of the dies that you can get to fit that die. Grab those dies. So we have a die called our heart collage pop-up, and that creates this really cool collage heart. It comes with hearts. And then you can get 2 different add-ons to fit that same base die to convert it into balloons. So there's a balloon collage add-ons. Okay, and then we have the butterfly collage add-on. So when you use it with that heart collage, you get this really cool butterfly collage. But you can use those butterflies for anything. They're just beautiful butterflies, but they include a 3-dimensional butterfly. So what I mean by that is there are butterflies in that set that have notches and slots. So here's a silver butterfly that I cut that has the slot up the middle. And then let me find the other one that's got the notch of that same thing. Let's see, where is it? I should have organized all my butterflies. You know what? Why don't we just switch to a different butterfly since I can't seem to find the right one? There's this one. Let's just switch to this one. We'll use that one on the front. Okay, I'm going to switch silver butterflies because I could find these ones easier. So the way that those 3-dimensional butterflies work is the one that has notches in the middle. It has like a little score line where you can fold up the back wing. Okay, and that allows you to get the top through the slot all the way through and then unfold on the back side. And then now you've got this 3D butterfly, and you can use that on pop-ups, and then it'll flatten down when the pop-up closes, but then it will also open as the pop-up opens. So what I wanted to do is suspend one of those in my opening. I'm going to take it back apart for a second, because what I found the easiest way to do that was to cut 2 slotted butterflies where I could just sandwich those around the fishing line. And so my slotted butterfly would then just be suspended in the opening. Then I could put the notched one through. So I just used double-sided adhesive tape on the cardstock before die cutting. It wouldn't really matter what the color of this one was. I just used some of my leftover pink. So this is sticky on top because it's got that double-sided adhesive. So now I'm going to go in there and I'm going to attach that to the fishing line just so I don't obscure the slot. So the fishing line can be close to the slot, but not obscuring it because we want to be able to put the other butterfly through. All right, and then I'm going to get my other slotted butterfly right over the top. Guess what? My fishing line just came out. Of course it did. Of course it did. This is not my day. Not my day, y'all. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm getting encouragement from the other side of the room, which is like, Mom, it's okay. You've had worse happen. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do to keep this demo going. I'm going to take my fishing line down so that you can see the card. And then after the demo, I will go in and fix it properly. Or I could put a butterfly over the top to keep that in place. So, okay, I'm just going to tape it in there for now. Okay, so now you see I've got my suspended butterfly in the opening. And then I'm going to take the one that has the notch in it. I'm going to fold up that wing temporarily, and I'm going to get it through the notched one and then unfold on the back. All right, so now I have a 3-dimensional butterfly that will flatten down with the card, and then see how when it opens, it will open. Okay, well, hey, we got through that. That was good. All right, so let's talk about how else I decorated this card. So, I love pattern paper. You may not be a pattern paper person. It actually kind of looks cool with it just, let's say that I did that on purpose, because that's kind of cool too. It doesn't have to be suspended on the bottom. It'll still work. Okay, yeah, creative choice. All right, so what I did is I just went stash diving. I found a pretty piece of plaid pattern paper. This happens to be Dare to Be Artsy. It's got some cute little bears on the back, but I decided the plaid side was what I was going to use. And then I just cut the pieces a little bit smaller than my card to where they would just fit and leave a little shadow of pink. Are there any questions that I'm missing?
There's someone who asked, what made you start card making?
Oh, okay, what made me start card making? What did make me start card making? I started card making, I guess I would say, in college. I've always been kind of a little bit crafty, but like when I was a kid, I would make, napkin holders out of popsicle sticks and stuff like that. But when I was in college, and I did study engineering, if anyone had asked about that, I have a civil engineering degree. And I was in the student group for civil engineers, and we had a national convention that was in San Francisco. And so I got to be one of the delegates from our college. And I went to school in New Orleans. So we flew out to San Francisco to go to this ASCE conference. And they had a rubber stamp store there. And a good friend of mine, she had a rubber stamp and I'd never seen such a thing. And I was like, what is this? And so I bought one stamp. I bought a big Inka-Dinka-Doo jumping frog. Some of you probably have that stamp from way, way, way back in the day. And I put that jumping frog on every piece of correspondence. If it was Christmas, I drew a Santa hat on him. And that jumping frog just became part of my life. So, and then after college, I just got into a rubber stamp group. And, the crafting kind of grows from there. Went to a creative memories party, started scrapbooking, just all of it. Started submitting to magazines. There's my other silver one that I couldn't find. So anyway, that's how I got started. And yeah. Okay. I wanted to talk about, because a lot of this is just adding stuff to the thing. So I wanted to talk about another thing that I want to make sure I get to in case I don't get to decorating this entire card. And that is the way that you can use your 3D butterfly as a flat, well, kind of flat, semi-flat kind of butterfly as well, by just connecting it to the card. And then when it goes in the envelope, it'll flatten down. And so for that one, I like to make a triple. So I wanted to show that just so we have that ready for the front of the card. So for that one, you would cut 1 slotted butterfly and 2 notched butterflies. And with your notched butterflies, you're going to fold them. I usually just fold them. If there is a pretty side, keep the pretty side on the front, because you're basically making a set of pretty side butterflies that are folded in half, right? And then you just weave each half of those through your slot in the usual direction. So we've got to fold down a wing in the back. We've got to get it through and then open it. Okay, so now I've got this left one in there. Sure I have the right one. Yeah, this one. Okay, then fold the back of this one and then through it. Now, if anyone has joined us since the beginning, let me tell you, KarenBurniston.com is our website. And we are offering a 20% off anything on the website. So just use the code POPUP20. Okay, KarenBurniston.com, POPUP20. You have from until tonight at midnight Central Time. Okay, so today's the last day of that sale. All right, so now we've got a triple butterfly. You can see that then you can just glue that down to your project and it'll just kind of pop up when it comes out of the envelope. Now, if you want to make sure that it doesn't, a wing doesn't flip over in the wrong direction, you can also just put pop dots in the layers to kind of keep it into the position that you like. So that's completely up to you. I just want to make sure that we had that done. That's, I think, the only thing on this card that's not just basically, adding pieces. Oh, and let me tell you something else. I feel like I'm all over the map. I made a PDF download for this card. Okay, it's a free download on our website. I was doing an instruction sheet anyway for a similar card that I'm teaching next weekend. And so I just kind of swapped out the colors and took that handout and actually created a PDF download for this exact card. So if you want to make this exact card, whether in these colors or not, choose your own colors, but it will tell you the supplies that you need, your other supplies, and then all of the sizes. So all of the paper cuts that I did ahead of time, all of the die cutting that I did ahead of time, that's all listed in this, as well as your instructions with some diagrams of how to do it. Okay, that is a free download on our website. So you go to KarenBurniston.com, you go to kits and classes. So just navigate to kits and classes. You'll see that as a free download. You just have to check out. You throw it in your cart, check out. It's a $0 item, and then it'll give you the PDF. All right, any other questions before I keep crafting? Okay, there are some sideways butterflies in that die set. So there's one that faces to the left and one that faces to the right. And what I like to do, especially if I've cut them out of glitter, is I'll just use an alcohol marker or a permanent marker to color in the, the antenna and the bodies. Okay, so there I've got a place to sign the card. And then as far as decorating this, I can continue to add additional butterflies around that frame, including a 3D butterfly if I want to. So here's one that I cut out of pink glitter. How am I doing on time? Oh, okay. And get that in and out. Okay. So then, since I want this to open, then what I want to do is I just want to use a little glue dot or something just in one corner of the back wing. And then, so it's only sticky on this one back wing, okay, because I want this to be able to open. So then I can choose a spot for it, just attaching that back wing to the frame so that the middle part is over air, right? And then that'll have the opportunity to flatten down, check my location that it stays within the card. But then as I open it, it'll just expand because it's out over air. Okay, so that's another way that you can add more fun to this thing. What did I do with this one? That one's just a 3D butterfly. We're going to swap that out for silver since silver glitter. Yes.
You don't sell paper, right?
No, we're not a paper company. We just do dyes mainly. It definitely, but I'm a fan of paper. I use paper on almost all of my cards just because I just love it so much. With this one, you could try to get it over air, but I think that it's going to stick out of my card. So in this case, I just had it be essence of 3D butterfly and went ahead and put glue on both halves at the bottom. Oh, let's see. Let's put that fishtail banner on there first. There's so many people that make beautiful pattern papers. I just love them with the dies, they just add so much. A lot of times, there's journaling cards and things in papers that can do a lot of the work for you. So sometimes I think people think of pattern paper as just for scrapbooking, but boy, I use it all the time in cards, and especially in the case of making pop-up cards, you've got a lot of space to fill because you've got this inside part and then you don't want to have a blank card front. So you end up decorating the front as well. So pattern paper can really fill a lot of space. So, but it's all what you like. But we don't sell paper. We are we basically boutique kind of specialty die company. I'm the one that designs the dies. And what I'm always trying to do is have them be kind of timeless in a way, you know, where if you invest in a pop-up die, you know, we haven't discontinued but one die in 7 years. And it wasn't a pop-up die, it was just a decorator die. And we just try to bring out new dies that'll give it new looks, you know, so an add-on set or something. So let's say you had our tiny house die, you know, we've got all these add-ons to turn that tiny house into a mushroom house and a haunted house and a gingerbread house and a school and a dog house. And so, you know, we'll try and give your dies that you've already invested in some new looks with some of our newer offerings is kind of the philosophy of the brand. Okay, so I think y'all are kind of getting the idea of this card here. I'm just going around and adding butterflies that I cut using that butterfly add-on set. And, you know, that's just your choice as to how many and where they go and how they look, all that. Yes.
Somebody asked someone who has never attempted, like, what's your must-haves for starting paper crafting die cutting?
Like your starter pop-up dies. So this would be actually a really good starting pop-up die, the Lorna label, because it is so generic. What I always tell people, you know, if I'm at a show and, you know, we've got something like 75 different pop-up dies or something, it can be overwhelming. You know, they're just looking at a whole table full of cards and like, I don't know where to start. And I like to say, man, just pick a mechanism, a generic mechanism that you like a label die. So people love the Catherine label. That's die number 1011 if you're on our website. So the Catherine label is a really good starter die that people love. The Lorna label is a really good die for starting out because it is so generic. You can use it for any theme, you know. So that Lorna label we're using today, boy, that could be all year round. All year round, you're making that, you know, for different themes, decorating it for different things. There's a cute one, just because, right? And it's easy. It's just a simple little glue-in design. You die cut it, you line it up over the fold, you put your 4 tabs on, and you can even decorate it after you've added it to the card, as you've seen me do here. So tag book, people like the tag book. So there's different ones, but the other thing too is we have a Facebook group. So we have a really active Facebook group called the Karen Berniston Pop-Up Peeps. You just go on Facebook if you're a Facebook user and look for that group. You have to ask to join just so we, you know, ask you a couple questions. Do you have a die cutting machine? You know, just to make sure that we're admitting people that are crafters. And anyway, that's a good place too, because people ask questions like that a lot. They're like, I'm just getting started and I just need some ideas. People are so generous in the peeps, you know, all the time I see people saying, I need a card for my granddaughter's soccer game, or you know what I mean, whatever it is. And they'll come in with all sorts of ideas. But any of the label pop-ups, I think are a good choice for starting out. So what I'm doing here is we've got a happy birthday die. And then as an option, you can buy a shadow for it. The shadow is sold separately. You don't have to have the shadow. You can certainly use happy birthday on its own. But it's one of those ones that people really did want a shadow. So we came out with a shadow that's sold separately. So I've layered those two together. And then for me, for the front of a card, a pop-up card, I spend all my time making the inside gorgeous, right? And then I just look to my leftover materials and, just make a simple lead in for it. So that's what I did for this one. Where are we at? Okay, we're still okay. So this one is just my leftover from that one sheet of paper. I just used one sheet of pattern paper. And then just, cardstock out of my scraps for the colors. I always pick my pattern paper first, and then I just go looking for the colors out of the paper. So, this was easy. I found this plaid. I loved it. I was like, okay, I need a pink that'll go with it. I need a yellow that go with it. Maybe I would have done teal, So I just, and I have a lot of paper in this room. There's paper to last for years. Years and years. Yeah. And the other nice thing about it, if you talked about maybe your first purchase, what's nice about the label dies too is that the decorator pieces that come with them are so good for off the pop-up. So the Lorna label, that's a good little label set. You might use that on a card, whether or not you're making that pop-up. I forgot to stick a little fishtail. I took the fishtail banner and I just cut it in half, tucked it on either side so it would look like a longer banner. Might be too long, a little bit too long. Make that a little shorter. Just as a decoration. Well, I did a lot shorter, but I'm going to leave it like this because cute enough. Cute enough. I actually, if my name seems familiar, but you're unfamiliar with our company, with KB Riley, I've been designing dies for longer than we started our company in 2017. But prior to that, I was a licensed designer for 5 years with Sizzix, and then for 3 years with Elizabeth Craft Designs. So, so there's some of my dies out there from those two companies as well. I mean, they're long retired, but you might still have some of those, or have seen those, or you might come across them on resale sites and stuff like that. So here's my 3D butterfly. Am I still on screen? Yeah. See, now that's just going to pop up. That's my triple, the one that I did with triple. And if I think it's popping up too much, the envelope I'll squish it down. But if I really wanted to make, seal it where I wanted it, I could go in with pop dots, and add pop dot near the inside of the wing and kind of make it stay where I want it to stay. You know what I mean? So that's an option as well. And then my happy birthday. So I do like to, I mentioned that I'm teaching kind of a version of this card next weekend as well. Is, boy, once I got a good card design, that I like, change out the colors and, change out the colors, change out the theme, change out whatever. And it just, you can use that same design. You can kind of copy yourself, Is there another question?
Sorry, the name of your Facebook group's the Karen Burstyn Popup Peeps, correct?
Peeps, that's correct.
Can I put it in the chat?
Oh, sure, that's fine. Yeah, just have to look for it. Karen Burstyn Popup Peeps is, I think I used a different color on this one. But so, all right, so now I've created my card front, and I'm going to glue that to the front. So I live in South Texas. So our company is in Topeka, Kansas. That's where the product ships from. That's where Tanya is. And but I work remotely. So I live near Houston. I live in Katy, Texas. And I have found that glue is just been the perfect thing for the pop-ups in our humid climate. It's just not been an issue. So I tend to use glue for everything. I've just become a real person who loves my glue. One last thing, and this is an optional thing, but sometimes with a pop-up card, if you've added some stuff to the front and you've got like a back heavy pop-up, then for display, see, it'll fall over because it doesn't have enough weight on this side. So when that happens, just to make it a beautiful display piece and to feel more balanced in my hand, I'll just take my leftover cardstock or paper or whatever I've got handy, something out of the scrap bin, and I'll just add a panel to the back. And that's just for balance. Now it adds to the weight of the card. So, if you were just right at an ounce and you were mailing a bunch of these, you'd probably leave that off. But if you're just, still under an ounce, or if you're okay with doing the little extra ounce stamp, if you're in the States, it's nice for the weight of the card. So look at the difference and how it just, it doesn't fall over now. It will display nicely. So. Okay, we did it. So other than my fun alternate assembly with the hanging fishing line, which some of you may prefer. So now you can see how it looks when the fishing line is anchored or when it's not. Lemons, lemonade. It turned out kind of cute. And I would just use a 5x7 envelope for that. All right, y'all want to see some cards? Again, if you're just joining us, just because it's the last day, I don't mean to say that, but go to KarenBurstyn.com. Anything on the website will be 20% off with the code Popup20. So you're not going to see those sale prices until you go in there and add that code. Popup20, all uppercase. All right, so let's talk about this Lorna label, as I got a few cards to show you. So I already showed you the one that's actually photographed on the packaging. We have lots of little animal dies, and those little animal sets and characters, they work great on the Lorna label or the Catherine label that we were talking about earlier. But we have all these little animal dies that you can get, and all of them are sized, including some little accessories. You can make superheroes out of them and things. We have little gnomes and all sorts of little characters, little bookworm, that's real popular. But all of those little accessories fit on those as well, including our newest accessories, which is our Tiny Accessories 4, where you can have them floating in a little flamingo floaty or wearing some scuba gear. Oh, that was a, hang on. Got that little, y'all, any cute little hippo wearing the thing. So anyway, so all of our little decorator dies fit really well on the Lorna as well. Here's one that I taught as a class in the month of April. So it's kind of real similar, but just one of our different animal dies and some of our new borders. We have borders, we have words, we have charms, we have animals, and we have all sorts of decorator dies as well. Okay, let's find some more Lornas. So in that same class, our April class, which there may even be, this was a Zoom class, but we record the Zoom. So if you go to our events page, you'll find a list of the stores that make kits for our Zoom classes, and you can contact one of those stores. I'm sure some of them have some of these kits left. Then you can just watch the recorded video for putting it together. But on that one, we featured the Lorna, and this was one of the cards. And then the second one, we kind of switched it up and we did a sideways card with the Lorna, including cutting a window in the front of the card that would line up with the back of the pop-up. And then that little flamingo floaty kind of disappears, and it's been doubled. So you can also double the Lorna label real easily by using folded paper on your die. That's all addressed in the assembly video for that die set. So in the assembly video, the first card I make, I think, is this cute little birthday card with a lion holding a birthday candle. So that's the first card I make in the assembly video for this die. And then the second one, I amp it up and I make a version of the card that we made today, but with a doubled Lorna. So it's just amped up, more butterflies. And then I doubled the Lorna and used that kind of as a floating floor to suspend some more butterflies. So, you know, you can always amp these things up further. This is the one I'm teaching on the weekend. Yeah.
Morley asked, where do you find the retailers who sell the paper kits that come with your instruction classes?
So you go to our website, KarenBernstein.com, and you're going to go to the events tab. So up at the top, just look for the events tab, or if you're on your phone, look hamburger menu, find events, and it'll have links to the stores that are creating kits for our classes. So you already saw that one. So the classes I teach every month. So what we'll do is we'll do 2 months of a Zoom class usually, and then we'll do a virtual class. So with the virtual classes, those are pre-recorded on YouTube. So, you know, the Zoom classes are exclusive to our stores, and the class day is a Zoom. The ones that are virtual classes, those are pre-recorded YouTube classes. But in all cases, the way our classes work is there'll be a die requirement. So let's, I think this was a class. So this was a class we did with our stocking pop-up. So that month, you had like 3 dies that you had to have. So you had to have the stocking pop-up. That was one of the required dies. And then you had to have this border set, because you're doing a lot of the die cutting yourself in our classes. So you get 10 days before class, you get prep work videos and PDF instructions, and you prep your kit. And then we get together on either Zoom or a pre-recorded YouTube class to put those classes together. So this was one that we'd used our stocking pop-up. And again, when we do a class, I like to show it in a different way. So for the second one, we doubled it and we made it into a birthday card that had nothing to do with the stocking. So, you know, you really can do a lot with these. You know, like I said, if I've got a good mechanism, I'm going to come out with just other dies that fit it before, you know, starting over with a brand new, you know, I mean, you've already got that die. So let's just get you a witch and a cauldron that will fit it, you know, and now your stocking is now a Halloween card, you know, so that's kind of how we operate. So I just have a bunch of cards here. This was one we did as a class where it had a little light up action, so a little lighting up for the little houses, the windows. So somebody wasn't home. This person wasn't home, but these 2 people are home, so they get that. Let's see what else I got here. This one happens to have a fair bit of holiday cards in it. Oh, so one of our best sellers. Let's see if I can find a more generic version of that in this. I guess I can't, so let's find this one. Is our photo collage pop-up. So that one will make a collage of photos. I was only looking for one that didn't have a clear front because, you know, this one was a little bit more amped up. But that one's a really good seller, is our photo collage pop-up. And you don't have to put photos in it. I mean, you can decorate it with whatever you want. But we have cards that make motion. So this one's called our Pop and Swap. So you can see the little gnomes here on the front. And then they duck out of the way, and then 2 new gnomes come up. So Pop and Swap. That one's a fun one. We have all sorts of, we have accordions, and then we have add-ons for the accordions. You can find something, that you like. If you're into making Christmas cards, we've got all sorts of Christmas trees and sleighs and snowmen and, for all your things. What I like about the pop-up cards too is that, another good generic one. I forgot about this one, Little Labels pop-up. So especially if you're a person who really loves slimline cards, this one's a little bit wider. So it fits really nicely in either a short slimline or even your long 8.5 by 8.5 slimline, and it will fold down into that 3.5-inch space. So if you're a person that likes slimline cards, the Little Labels pop-up, again, a generic die that all of our little charms and animals and anything you wanted to stamp, would fit that. I mentioned earlier that we have a pop-up house that can be turned into all sorts of things. So here's one of them. This is doghouse add-ons. We'll turn that little house into a doghouse. Okay. So you'd first have your tiny house, and then if you bought the doghouse tiny house add-ons, it would add, the little dog and the bone and, all the things to decorate your tiny house as a doghouse, including, the little door that makes it look like a dog. That would all come in the add-ons set. And let's see, we've got another Christmas tree. So there's 2 different Christmas tree dies that we offer. So they just operate in different ways. Kind of depends on whether you're looking for a side fold action or a top fold action. So you've got both those options for Christmas trees. How are we doing? Anybody? This is one more.
Crafters get organized, so it's time to wrap things up with 4 exclamation points.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. It is 45. Okay. Well, anyway, thank you all. Let's see. Let me put my thing back on. Anyway, thank you all very much. So again, KarenBerniston.com. You can download a free copy of the instructions for today's card and use that code. Hi, Laurel. Sorry,
Hi.
I'm just showing
I'm coming
cards.
to you from my bed.
Oh my gosh.
I've been watching this whole time, and I'm creating a little list of things I must have.
Okay. Thank you.
I
so
had
much.
someone, I took a gander. Someone asked if you're an engineer. Pretty sure you're engineer, yeah?
Yeah, civil engineering.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I'm like, yeah. Only certain minds can come up with these brilliant things.
Oh, you're sweet.
Oh, but thank you so much for joining us, and I think you have a lot of super fans. Don't forget, she's got this pop-up 20. It's case sensitive, so make sure you're doing all caps. So if it doesn't work, make sure you're doing all caps, and that expires tonight.
Tonight
right?
at midnight Central. So,
all right.
yeah.
Don't be awake at midnight. Just get your shopping in now.
Yeah, just get it in now. Yeah.
This is no time like the present. And that's it. We have a couple more lives this afternoon. Then we have a dinner and learn from another sponsor. Then we have our wrap-up call, and then that's a wrap for the weekend.
It was a really cool event.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad I got to come in and surprise you, even though I'm in my bed.
Good to see you.
Do what you have to do. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. And thank you. Thank you so much, Karen.
No
you
problem.
did. This was amazing.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.